The reason we're doing this, we're doing it twofold. One is that yesterday, around almost 5:30 or 6, this injunction was filed before Judge Bolton by Maldev. And the injunction basically is asking for the Section 2B of SB1070 to be enjoined until, in other words, to be a preliminary injunction was filed so that it doesn't go into effect. Basically, what it's claiming is that it will, under the equal protection under law, will cause separate treatment to people that are Mexicanos, people that are brown, and we believe that if this prevails, it will be something that would have a great relief on the community. Right now, the community is under great stress, and we have one person that her husband was just detained 3 days ago under SB1070 for no reason at all, even though it's not in effect. The city of Phoenix and police in the state of Arizona are implementing SB1070 since 2 years ago, especially in the discretionary part of it. Along with that, we also want to invite people to 3 actions that are going to happen directly in opposition to SB1070. One is the boycott against Arizona, where we're going to have a mariachi come from Chicago and play in front of the U.S. Airways Arena, where Vicente Fernandez is going to be playing. He's a former friend of Vicente and grew up with Vicente Fernandez. On Saturday, we're going to have a big event here, Know Your Rights event with the firm of African Associates. And on top of that, we're going to have our own concert. And then on Monday, we're going to have a meeting with the chief of police, where we're going to be showing documentation and proof that there is racial profiling going on by the City of Phoenix Police Department, in the sense that people are getting stopped, and the only traffic violation they're given is no license. It's not a moving violation, it's not a left turn, it's not a right turn, it's not speeding, it's just simply no license. The question is, how do they know that the driver has no license? They can tell you, well, we can put it in, we can get it in the computer. Say, well, how do you know that the owner of the car is the one that's driving the car? And they have no answer to that. To us, specifically, is the same pattern that is caused by the SB1070. So one of the things is that we have with us several members of the community, but specifically we have the Señora Sandra. Her husband was picked up just for walking the other day, and now he's in the process of probably in jail, in the process of deportation. She will give a statement in Spanish and basically saying what happened, and we'll translate for her. Señora Sandra, dígale lo que le pasó a su esposo hace 3-4 días.
¿Sobre los micrófonos?
Okay.
Él venía caminando y lo levantó la policía.
¿Qué pasó con él?
Él está en la cárcel de Durango y no sé nada.
Pero porque lo claro que venía haciendo cuando estaba caminando.
Venía caminando, pero no sé más.
¿De dónde venía su esposo? ¿Hizo algo?
Yo creo que sí, porque él no puede hablar con mucha tristeza.
¿Qué está?
¿Cárcel de Durango?
En la cárcel de Durango, pero lo van a transferir
a Flores o Williams.
¿Y ustedes cuántos años tienen viviendo acá?
Mi esposo tiene 12 años.
¿Tienen hijos aquí?
Nacidos aquí no.
Pero tiene un hijo en la universidad.
Tengo un hijo en la universidad. Está becado.
So basically, what we're saying is that her husband got picked up, asked for identification. He was walking in one of the neighborhoods here that are heavily policed. he probably looked suspicious because he was a Mexican guy walking at night, and we don't know whether he jaywalked. We don't know what happened, but at the same time, he's facing deportation right now, simply because he was brown, and that's what this weekend said is false. I'm gonna pass it over to Buck Enrique, which is gonna make a statement, and then we'll open up for questions.
Good morning. The complaint and request. Good morning, my name is Tupac Enrique Acosta. Yautashka Katoka Nawakali Tonatierra. The complaint that was filed yesterday in federal court, which I have in my hand, includes copies of the request for communications through email from the ex-state senator Russell Kirk related to the issue of how the legislation of SB1070 was fomented upon the state of Arizona as a result of being prefabricated within the bowels of ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council. Part of the documentation in the court case in the demand submitted yesterday that calls for the injunction on Section 2B of SB1070 deals with the racist nomenclature and attitude of fear that is being fomented, that was fomented by SB 1070, and we have a statement to read on behalf of Tonatierra. As we all know, the issue of legality north of the border with Mexico has as context, preliminary context, fundamental context, the establishment of the border itself in 1848 by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which was a treaty of peace. This is our statement. The intent of SB 1070 is malicious, criminally malicious. The most obscene aspect of this malicious intent is the blatant fact that SB 1070 was written as a deliberate act of war, a war of attrition against dark-skinned Mexican families, barrios, communities, and organizations, the evidence we're hearing again today. A war of attrition cannot be regulated. It cannot be sanitized with police orders and procedure. It cannot be considered a legitimate act of law at all. It is an act of war in violation of the peace established in 1848 by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo between the U.S. and Mexico. Section 2B must be enjoined by the U.S. courts, not just to enforce equal protection, but to reassert the rule of law itself with universal human rights as the norm. This is our statement for today, and we are also submitting as part of our packet to the press the Article 36 of the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, which was adopted in 2007, and the community indictment, which was submitted to charge Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio as a violator of the civil rights, human rights, indigenous rights in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo territories. This indictment is now 2 years old. So this fight goes on. Today we step into the U.S. court once again, but it's a long-range fight to reestablish and reassert and defend our human rights as indigenous peoples in the territory.
And I would just like to add that Tonatierra is a plaintiff, along with Violet Sol, along with other organizations. Tonatierra is a plaintiff in this case. And also, this is only one more step. Again, we invite you to let people know about the events we're having this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Monday. And more than anything else, we hope that Judge Bolton sees the need to enjoin SB 1070 2B. If not, we will continue because we know for a fact that SB 1070 has been in effect for 2 years. People have been stopped and detained and separated. We have at least 1 or 2 a week that comes to our office that was stopped for no reason at all except color of skin. I know that the city will deny it, the state will deny it, but the fact and the reality do not deny it. No sé si quiere decir algo de verdad.
Bueno, nada más. Bueno, buenos días. Mi nombre es Sergio Juárez Motalamas, del Comité del Oeste. Hablo en nombre de todos los comités de Defensa del Barrio, Tonatierra. Y para mandar ese mensaje y la invitación a la comunidad que nos acompañen a la protesta contra Vicente Fernández el viernes 20 de julio a partir de las 5 de la tarde. ¿Por qué es la protesta? Porque Vicente Fernández ha violado el boicot del sonido. Ustedes saben, hay los boicots comerciales del sonido. Él ha violado desde el año pasado el sonido y ahora viene a cantar para la Bad Weiser, la Bad Line, viene a cantar para la 1070. Entonces yo en protesta a eso voy a romper estos discos como originales, son tirados. Para que se lleve bien el mensaje de que Vicente Fernández no es así como lo corrieron hace un año en Chicago, así lo vamos a correr hoy del Live Center. Viene el representante de los mariachis de Chicago, que representa a la Asociación de Mariachis del Estado de Illinois. Viene a apoyarnos, pero él viene a cantar para el pueblo y Vicente va a cantar adentro para la 1070. El boicot ya se armó, el boicot ya se armó, el boicot ya se armó. Vicente fuera, Vicente fuera, Vicente fuera.
Chávez con Chávez.
El manchado.
Chávez con el manchado.
What they're basically telling you guys is that it's not only the legal aspect that we're looking at. We're going to go boycott, and anybody that supports the state of Arizona is going to suffer economically, including the Cardinals that gave $5,000 to the PAC of Jan Brewer.
Right.
We're going to make sure that the Cardinals suffer the same fate as the Diamondbacks, where they're going, wherever they go, they're going to be hounded for supporting the racist state of Arizona.
Today was the birthday of Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela will be coming to Arizona in spirit today as well, because the apartheid of South Africa is the apartheid of Arizona. It's the same policies, it's the same constituencies, except they're indigenous peoples of Africa and we are the indigenous peoples of this part of Mother Earth. The fight for human rights is a global fight, but here in Arizona, until justice is done, in other words, until SB1070 is off the books, the Huelga de Pueblos, the strike, the boycott of the economic engine that perpetrated this injustice is going to go on.
Any questions?
La mayoría de los artistas que han venido a Arizona últimamente han dicho que vienen porque el pueblo los que están siendo dañados más por la huelga del sonido es el mismo pueblo y que ellos vienen para dar entretenimiento. Todos han dicho lo mismo en el escenario. ¿Cuál es su respuesta?
Ellos vienen por esto, ellos vienen por el dinero nada más y a dejarle más dinero al estado de Arizona para las leyes antimigrantes que estamos viviendo en este momento. O sea, ellos ponen de pretexto eso. Pero así como el pueblo los hizo, el pueblo los va a bajar.
Que sí, tal vez ellos tienen que expresarse, ellos tienen que decir algo, porque tienen que defenderse. Nosotros estamos luchando por el bienestar de nuestra familia, de nuestra gente. Y no nos importa si sea el Papa. O sea, nosotros no nos importa quién sea, porque nosotros vamos a defender a nuestra familia y a nuestra gente. Ellos pueden decir lo que quieran, nosotros estamos diciendo, nosotros no nos queremos aquí, somos el pueblo, nosotros los hicimos, nosotros somos los que vamos a sus conciertos, nosotros somos los que compramos su música, y ahora ellos nos dan la espalda al pueblo. ¿Quién dice que el pueblo dice que quiere que vengan? Nosotros estamos diciendo que sí vengan, pero que vengan en apoyo al pueblo, no a dejar dinero a los racistas que nos están atacando al pueblo que los hizo. Eso es lo que dice el pueblo. No dice que los queremos aquí, que vengan y que ganen mucho dinero. Ellos vienen solamente por el dinero, les importa solamente el dinero. No les importa el pueblo. El de Chávez.
Yo nomás quiero añadir de que los Tigres del Norte van a venir, pero van a venir a los pueblos indígenas, van a estar tocando en el One Horse Pass. Nosotros le decimos lo mismo a Vicente y a todos, vayan allá, no vengan aquí a dejar el dinero aquí al estado de Arizona.
I have a question. My question is, how is this organization and also the state of Arizona holding the United Farm Workers accountable for their recent joint sponsorship of Budweiser of their 50th anniversary, knowing that Hensley McCain sits on the executive board of Budweiser, but yet United Farm Workers continues a long relationship with this organization who we know supports racist policies.
No se puede soportar la injusticia y más menos cuando se está manchando a nuestros líderes de los derechos de los campesinos. No se puede soportar, se tiene que denunciar.
Nosotros lo que hemos hecho es hemos apoyado los llamados de Mecha en Centro de California para que se devuelva ese $25,000 que le dio Budweiser a la UFW, que lo devuelvan, que no lo acepten. No hemos escuchado nada en retorno.
Luis, por favor, what do you hope to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish?
Well, first of all, there are two issues here. One of them is the legal issue, the injunction that was filed. That injunction, we hope that Judge Bolton examines it and sees that the damage to the Constitution, but also the damage to the community that the implementation of the 2B is going to cause. That's out of our hands. We're urging her to do that. But we're also making sure that SB1070 is eradicated from the books in the future. And by doing that, I don't know if you were here when they broke the records. When they broke them, it's because these are Vicente Fernandez records. And we're asking the musicians not to come to Arizona, not to give money to Arizona, not to leave tax money to Arizona, and to go into indigenous communities. There's other issues too. And one of them is that the community is ready to know their rights, stand up, not sign any deportation proceedings, and know their rights, and that's what we're doing. So it's an overall legal defense, legal issues, but it's also actions that the community are doing, including Friday, Saturday, and Monday, and the rest of the year.
Just to add on to what Sal just said, we expect, it's not just hope, we expect Judge Bolton to enjoin Section 2B as a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution. This is what is expected if she truly is a magistrate of justice. Should she not, we will continue the struggle and we will take this to the international arena, the Inter-American Court of Human Rights, the United Nations Human Rights Council, where we will take this fight to the issue of the violation of our human rights as migratory workers and families and indigenous people.
Now, I heard you speak a little bit earlier about asking the musicians and concerts, and I think you even mentioned the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks. Can you tell us about that strategy and why you think it's going to be effective?
Well, that strategy is very effective, and we've already seen it because there has been no anti-immigrant law passed in the state of Arizona in the last 2 years. And that shows how effective it is. And that is because people have stopped going to the Diamondbacks. People have stopped coming to Arizona. The economic boycott that we saw under Mandela, and then we saw also under Cesar Chavez, is the only thing that in the end will force the business community to put pressure on the legislation to stop it. And we will continue doing that. And that's part of the strategy.
And a technical question on that. If you simply were to walk into the state legislature and ask Jen Brewer, what is the effect on the credit rating for the state of Arizona on the legislation such as 1070? Ask her to answer that question. What has been the effect of 1070 on the credit rating in the state of Arizona? Answer that question, you'll get the answer to what we're doing here today.
Now, as far as the mechanics go, you filed, and when did you file?
Yesterday.
Yesterday around 5:30 or 6.
And what are your legal advisors telling you about when you might get a response from the judge?
We don't know. She could take it under advisement. We don't know.
And just for the record, and we apologize for being late, could you give us both of you speakers your first and last names and spelling, please?
My first name is Salvador Reza, Saldador, Reza.
Tupac, Tupac, Enrique Acosta.
And would you like to be identified with any particular organization?
Tonatierra.
We're part of Tonatierra, but we're also part of the Barrio Defense Committees, which is 10 Barrio Defense Committees throughout the city of Phoenix, which are composed of families. Sometimes they have 20 families, sometimes they have 30 families, sometimes they have 10 families, but we are throughout the valley, and we are also organized as autonomous families that defend themselves against abuse by the police, abuse by landlords, anything that's affecting the community, they're participating in that, and one of the things affecting the community more than anything else is that that's why they're participating.
What is the most important thing you want to get across? What's the most important thing you want people to know?
The most important thing that we want people to know is that hate, racism is not going to be tolerated by our communities. And we will do anything that has to be done at the legal, at the economic, at whatever level to stop it. We're in the 2012 and there's no need to have an apartheid in Arizona anymore. That's what people should understand. We're not going to give up. We're not going to leave. We're not going to run away. We're not going to be run away by attrition like Russell Pierce said. We're going to stay here and we're going to fight because we have been here for thousands of years and we're not foreigners in our own country.
Salvador, mañana empieza también el juicio en contra de George Fire y ustedes han sido siempre unos críticos muy severos de sus prácticas. ¿Tienen pensado algún tipo de actividad también para esto?
Pues las actividades que vamos a hacer ya las tenemos planeadas hasta el viernes.
Pero eso es todo para la SB1070. ¿Tienen algo contra?
No, pues es que es todo conjunto, ¿me entiendes? No puedes separar a la SB1070